My sister stands up at the family dinner table, wine glass raised, and says, "I'm pregnant and Derek is the father." Every single head at the table turns to me. Mom's fork clinks against her plate. Dad clears his throat. Nobody says a word to defend me. And the worst part? I already knew. I'd known for 6 weeks, and I'd been waiting for exactly this moment. My name is Jolene. I'm 34 years old. I work as a forensic accountant at a mid-size firm in Columbus, Ohio. It's not a glamorous career. Nobody claps when I walk into a room. I'm the middle child. My older sister Peyton, she's 37, and she was always the favorite. The prized one. The one my parents lit up for. My younger brother drifted away from the family years ago, and honestly, I can't blame him. I was the dependable one. I helped my parents refinance their house. I co-signed my sister's car loan. I planned every single holiday gathering for 8 years straight. And not once did anyone say thank you. I met Derek 2 years ago at a friend's barbecue. He seemed kind, steady, normal. We got engaged after 14 months. I thought I'd finally built something that was mine alone, something nobody could take credit for or take away. I wasn't the beautiful sister. I wasn't the exciting one. But I had something nobody in my family ever expected. Patience. The kind of patience that lets you sit across from the person who destroyed your life and smile. If you've ever been the one holding your whole family together while nobody even noticed, subscribe. I see you. Drop a comment and tell me if you've been there. I'm reading every single one. Click hype so this reaches someone who needs it. Let's go. It started at a formal family dinner at my parents' house. It was supposed to be a celebration of our upcoming wedding, now just 3 months away. I organized the whole thing myself. I cooked the main course. I set the table with the nice plates my mother only uses for company. I wanted it to be perfect because I thought this was my chapter, my moment. Peyton arrived late. She was dressed up more than usual. Red lipstick, new dress. She'd been acting distant for months, but I told myself it was jealousy about the engagement. I told myself that because the truth was too ugly to look at yet. Halfway through dinner, Peyton stood up. She tapped her glass with a fork and said she had big news. The table went quiet. She smiled like she was accepting an award. "I'm pregnant," she said, "and Derek is the father." We didn't plan it, but love doesn't follow plans, does it? She said it casually, almost victoriously, like she'd won something. I looked at Derek. He couldn't meet my eyes. He stared at his plate and muttered, "I was going to tell you. I just didn't know how. I'm sorry, Joe." He didn't fight for me. He didn't deny a single word. He just sat there like a coward wrapped in a nice shirt. But the real knife? It wasn't Peyton. It wasn't Derek. It was my parents. Mom reached across the table and squeezed Peyton's hand. Dad leaned back and said, "Well, this is complicated, but a baby is a blessing." Nobody checked on me. Nobody asked if I was okay. The room reorganized around Peyton's news like I was furniture. Like I was the centerpiece nobody actually looks at. My engagement ring suddenly felt like a handcuff. But here's the thing. I wasn't blindsided. Not really. 6 weeks before that dinner, I discovered the affair. Not through a tearful confession, not through a friend's warning, through my professional skills. I'd been reviewing shared financial documents for the wedding budget and noticed irregular Venmo transactions between Derek and Peyton, hotel charges, a jewelry purchase I never received. I traced every dollar. I had a folder on my laptop with dates, receipts, and screenshots. And I didn't confront anyone. I didn't cry to my friends. I sat with the information and started building a plan. When I stood up from that table, I smoothed my napkin and said, "Congratulations, Peyton. I hope you both get exactly what you deserve." Nobody caught the weight in that sentence. Not yet. Within days, I was erased. A new group chat appeared, one I wasn't in, for Peyton's baby planning. My mother called me, and her voice had that careful, controlled tone she uses when she's already decided you're wrong. "Be mature about this, Jolene. Don't make things harder for your sister. She's pregnant." I was uninvited from Sunday dinners. Mom said, "It's just easier if you give everyone space right now." I organized those dinners for 8 years. Now I wasn't welcome at the table, I said. That sting was deeper than the affair. It was the confirmation of something I'd always feared but never let myself fully believe. And then came the public humiliation. Peyton posted a photo on social media. Her and Derek, ultrasound in hand, captioned, "When God closes a door, He opens a window. So grateful for my blessing and my partner." Mutual friends congratulated them. Some unfollowed me. A few sent me pitiful, sorry messages that felt more like gossip bait than support. At a cousin's birthday party I made myself attend, Peyton and Derek showed up together. Peyton cornered a group of relatives and said, "How loud enough for me to hear? Jolene's always been more about spreadsheets than romance. Derek needed someone who actually made him feel alive." People laughed uncomfortably. Not one person corrected her. I stood there holding a paper plate of grocery store cake while my sister rewrote our history in front of everyone. Then came the financial manipulation. Derek texted me demanding I return the engagement ring. He called it a family heirloom. It wasn't. I had the receipt from a chain jeweler. Peyton convinced our parents to ask me to keep making payments on the car loan I'd co-signed for her. "She's pregnant now," Mom said. "She can't handle the stress of finances." Dad called me and said, "You've always been the responsible one. Just keep paying it a few more months. Do it for the baby." That sentence broke something open inside me. Not my heart. That was already cracked. It broke the last thread of obligation I felt toward any of them. I realized the full picture. I was never valued. I was useful. There's a difference. But I didn't lash out. I canceled the wedding vendors methodically and recovered every deposit I could. I contacted a lawyer about the co-signed car loan. I started running every morning, not for fitness, but to keep my mind sharp and my emotions controlled. They thought my silence meant I was broken, but silence is what a person sounds like when they're building something. My career as a forensic accountant isn't just a job, but it's a superpower nobody in my family ever bothered to understand. When they asked what I did, their eyes would glaze over, and they'd change the subject. They never grasped that I literally unravel financial fraud for a living. I pick apart lies hidden inside numbers every single day. What they didn't know was that the folder on my laptop had grown far beyond Derek and Peyton's affair. During my digging, I discovered Derek had been siphoning money from a small joint savings account we'd opened for the wedding. He'd moved nearly $11,000 into a separate account, one with Peyton's name on it. But there was something even bigger. While tracing Derek's financial trail, I stumbled onto something about Peyton. My sister had been filing false expense reports at her real estate firm for over 2 years. Inflated client dinners, fake mileage reimbursements, nearly $40,000 in fraudulent claims. I printed everything, organized it, time-stamped it, stored backups in 3 separate locations. I had a plan they never saw coming. Not because I'm vengeful, but because I'm thorough. That's what they never respected about me, and that's exactly what was going to change everything. I also quietly consulted a lawyer about the stolen wedding funds and learned I had a strong civil case against Derek. My boss and mentor at the firm, a sharp woman named Diane Whitfield, noticed the change in me. She's in her late 50s, and she's the kind of woman who reads a room faster than most people read a menu. She saw me coming into work, hollow-eyed but laser-focused. She took me to lunch one afternoon, and for the first and only time, I broke down. I told her everything. Diane didn't offer pity. She offered clarity. "You have skills that most people pay 6 figures for," she said. "Use them. Protect yourself first. Then decide what kind of justice you want." Diane connected me with a friend who's a family law attorney and another who handles employment fraud cases. The network I built was quiet but airtight. Meanwhile, my family grew bolder. Peyton started calling my friends to explain her side and paint me as cold and bitter. But Mom told extended family that I always had jealousy issues with Peyton and that Derek simply followed his heart. Derek texted me asking me to sign over my half of a small vacation timeshare we'd purchased together. He wrote, "Peyton and I could use a baby moon spot. Don't be petty about this." Then Dad sent me an email. Not a call, an email. It said, "Your mother and I think it's best you skip Thanksgiving this year. Peyton doesn't need the stress." My own father uninvited me from Thanksgiving through an email. Peyton announced a gender reveal party and invited the entire extended family. I was not invited, but a cousin quietly sent me the date and location. They were planning a celebration. I was planning a reckoning, and the beautiful thing was, they handed me every reason to do it. I showed up at the gender reveal party uninvited. I was calm, well-dressed, composed. The room went silent when I walked in. Peyton's face dropped. Derek stepped back. Mom leaned over and whispered, "Jolene, this isn't the time." I said, "Actually, Mom, this is the perfect time. You're all here. And there are a few things this family needs to hear." I addressed Derek first. I calmly presented, printed and in a folder, the bank records showing he transferred $11,000 of our joint wedding savings into an account with Peyton's name. I looked him in the eye. "You didn't just cheat on me, Derek. You stole from me, and I've already filed a civil claim. My attorney sent the papers yesterday." Derek stammered. He opened his mouth and nothing useful came out. Peyton jumped in. "You're seriously doing this here? You're pathetic, Jolene." I didn't flinch. I turned to her. "Since we're sharing news at family events, I thought you'd want to know that your employer will be receiving a detailed report on Monday morning. 2 years of falsified expense reports. $40,000 in fraudulent reimbursements. Every receipt, every timestamp, all verified." Peyton went pale. Her voice cracked. "You wouldn't." I held her gaze. "I already have. It was sent to their compliance department this morning. I just wanted you to hear it from me first, the way you told me about Derek. At a dinner, in front of everyone." The room was frozen. Mom stood up, eyes wide, and tried. "Jolene, you're going to destroy your sister's career." I cut her off. Miss, my voice was steady. "She destroyed my engagement, my savings, and my place in this family. And you helped her. You all did. You chose her every single time. So don't talk to me about destruction." Dad stood up and said, "That's enough." I looked at him and said, "You emailed me, Dad. You didn't even call. You emailed me to tell me to skip Thanksgiving. So no, I decide when it's enough." Silence filled the room. I placed the folder on the table, turned, and walked out the front door. Diane was waiting in the car outside. I got in, closed the door, exhaled, and said, "It's done." Diane looked at me. "How do you feel?" I paused. Like myself, for the first time in years. Derek was served with the civil suit 3 days after the gender reveal party. His lawyer called mine trying to negotiate, trying to stall, trying to make it go away quietly, but there was nothing quiet about what he'd done, and the evidence was airtight. Every transaction, every transfer, every dollar he moved out of our joint account and into one with my sister's name on it. He settled within 5 weeks. I recovered every single dollar plus legal fees. His own attorney probably told him he didn't have a leg to stand on. I know that because I built the case the same way I build cases at work. With patience, with precision, with no emotion left on the table for anyone to use against me. His relationship with Peyton didn't last long after that. Funny how that works. When the money dries up and the shame rolls in, the fairy tale starts to crack. They argued constantly. Peyton blamed Derek for not hiding the finances better. Derek blamed Peyton for making the announcement at the dinner in the first place. They weren't a love story. They were two selfish people standing on a foundation made of something they stole from me. And stolen things don't hold weight for long. Turns out the love that was supposed to be so powerful, so destined, she couldn't survive a single season of real pressure. They split before the baby was even born. Peyton's career collapsed next. Her firm launched a full internal investigation after receiving my report. 2 years of falsified expense reports. Inflated client dinners that never happened, mileage reimbursements for trips she never took, nearly $40,000 in fraudulent claims, all documented, all verified, all time-stamped by me. She was terminated, not quietly reassigned. Not allowed to resign with dignity. Terminated. The firm's legal team required her to repay every cent, and they made it clear that further legal action was still on the table. She went from being the sister who had everything to the woman who couldn't even list her last job on a resume without a lie following her. I removed myself from the co-signed car loan after my lawyer applied enough pressure for Peyton to refinance on her own. That felt like cutting the last chain. I blocked Derek on every platform, every app, every possible way he could reach me. I didn't need closure from him. Closure is something you give yourself. 2 months later, Mom called me. She was crying. She asked if we could move past this. She said the family missed me. I listened. I let her finish. Then I said, I love you, Mom, but I'm done being the one who holds everything together for people who wouldn't hold a door open for me. She went quiet. I think for the first time, she actually heard me. I got promoted at my firm that spring. Diane wrote my recommendation herself. I started volunteering as a financial literacy mentor for young women, teaching them how to read their own bank statements, how to protect their own money, how to never let anyone make them feel stupid for being careful. It became the most meaningful work I've ever done. They called me the boring sister, the quiet one, the spreadsheet girl. But here's what I've learned, and I need you to hear this. The person everyone underestimates is the most dangerous person in the room, not because they're angry, because they were paying attention the entire time. If your own family ever made you feel invisible, like you only mattered when they needed something from you, I want you to know, your worth was never their decision. Share your story in the comments. I read every single one, and this community sees you. Click Hype to help this story reach others who need to hear it today. If this story hit close to home, don't leave without subscribing. I post stories like this every week, real, raw, and honest, for people who've been through things they never deserved. Hit the bell so you never miss one. Share this with someone who needs a reminder that being underestimated is a gift. See you in the next one.